Some leading Republicans are blaming the president this morning for acting weak and not deterring Russia's move into Ukraine.
This is the ultimate result of a feckless foreign policy where nobody believes in America's strength anymore.
The U.S. is behaving in a way that tells the world we're in decline, that we're in withdrawal. We've created a leadership vacuum in the world, and it is being filled by the Putins of the world.
With us now is Tom Donilon, President Obama's former national security advisor. He met with President Putin 2 years ago in Russia. He joins us from Washington. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Nora.
So here, President Putin says unconstitutional coup. He says he's prepared to use force in Ukraine as a last resort, and he says sanctions will not work. Suppose he moves into Ukraine further. Is NATO prepared to stop him, or is Ukraine lost?
Well, I wouldn't say Ukraine is lost at all. And what you're seeing here, of course, is despite the pretext here of President Putin saying that they're acting to protect Russian nationals or Russian language speakers, in fact, what this is an effort to try to reassert some sort of control or some sort of leverage in the situation in Ukraine, which they lost when Yanukovych left. They regard Ukraine, Putin regards Ukraine as essential to his sphere of influence, essential to this idea he has of a Eurasian Union to balance a European Union. So this is a continuation, you saw President Putin today, really a continuation of an effort to try to regain some sort of leverage here.
But if sanctions don't work, can we stop him from, if sanctions don't work, can you stop him from exerting that leverage?
I think that there are a lot of things that the United States and the world community can do here. And we're starting to see this, right? One, declare his actions to be absolutely illegal under international law, illegal and violative of his arrangements with the Ukrainians and his commitments, by the way, the Russian commitments to protect the sovereignty of Ukraine coming out of the Cold War. Second, we can and we need to isolate Russia politically and isolate them economically. To those that say that there's no leverage here that the West, the United States, and the international community has, I say it's just not true. And you saw it yesterday in the Russian markets. Putin can stand astride and declare Russian unilateral actions here, illegal actions on the political and military front. He cannot withdraw the Russian economy from the world economy, though.
Tom, Secretary Kerry is on his way to Kiev. What's the goal? What can he do?
Yeah, Nora, I think the goal should be two or threefold. Number one here is to indicate political support for the government in Ukraine, which is planning to have an election in May. That's absolutely critical. Number two is to bring to Ukraine pledges of and a plan for international community economic support for Ukraine as we go forward here. And third, to indicate that in fact that the international community will continue to press back on Russian assertions that this is somehow some sort of humanitarian mission. It is not.
Tom?
What this is about in Ukraine right now is an attempt to regain leverage in the situation.
Tom, you've met with President Putin. There's a lot of analysis about how Putin acts. Doesn't he act when he senses weakness?
Well, I don't think this is about weakness here, Nora. I think this is about Putin reacting to the loss of a sphere of influence, the loss of a proxy here in Ukraine, the real blow to his plan to have some sort of counter organization to the European Union. And what had happened here, of course, is that he acted to try to regain some sort of leverage in the situation after a real blow here. The loss of Ukraine, in his view, from the Russian sphere of influence is a traumatic event.
So, Tom, how far do you think he is prepared to go to regain that sphere of influence?
Well, that's the question. And it's not clear at this point, which is why this is such a serious crisis. You've seen now the real tension in Crimea. Crimea has been a potential flashpoint in Ukraine since really the fall of the Soviet Empire, of the Soviet Union. And he is really pressing here, obviously, in a hard way and really bringing these tensions to the fore here. Not clear how far he's willing to go. But what has to happen is what we're seeing, though, I think, is a pushback, is the embrace of the Ukrainian government by the West, by the United States, and strong support for the Ukrainian government as a counterforce to Putin's actions.
Tom Donilon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.